Oh, I love this fucking version of this song. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the aftermath of AEW Collision. Yes, folks, say it with me. After the collision, we sift through
the wreckage.
The wreckage. With... All right. Well, brought to you by channelattitude.com. Please subscribe for $5 a month in the Hameen Media Group. This is the wreckage, folks. I am your host. I'm Christopher Ambs. That's AMBS, like lambs with no L. Bullshit first thing in the morning. Don't worry if you ever forget how to spell my last name. I'll just remind you at the beginning of every goddamn show I ever do. I don't have rhymes this morning because I had to be up until 2 reviewing the Rumble, and then I was up at 6 to watch this fucking show so that I could do this review. So I am very caffeinated. And I don't have a lot of patience. So, Jimmy, welcome to your show. Hello, Jimmy.
My show. Hello everyone. Hello Canada. Hello US. What's cracking? Yeah, it's been a long 72 hours for me, man. I had to sleep for 5 hours after the smack attack ended at 6 a.m. my time. So I went to sleep, woke up.
That's because the smack attack lasts for 14 hours. That's your own fault. You need to do something about that.
It should be called the SmackDown Marathon for every, what was it? I forgot what day. Saturday mornings, whatever it is. It's a long one every time. Then I woke up again for the Royal Rumble. We did that show, and then I stayed up. And then here we are for the wreckage. But yeah, I'm cool, man. I'm cool. I'm ready to talk absolutely, I don't know, could it be nothing or could it be a lot? We'll find out. But yeah, I'm cool, man.
We will sift through the wreckage and find out what we're talking about. But joining us to sift through the wreckage, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the V.E.T. Vet. Vet, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's delicious to be here.
Delicious. That's scrumptious of you, Vet.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I've got my beach sifter, but I don't know if it's going to work on the wreckage. I think it's only good for like sand and stuff, but yeah, I'll do my best.
We will investigate and we will figure out what we can figure out from the aftermath of the collision. Retro Rocket Review is drunk in the chat. So if he says something inappropriate, just laugh at him. That's what we do.
Retro.
Yeah,
careful,
by the way,
mate.
when he wrote experts in quotes, I'm sure he was not referring to me.
No, it was me.
I am
sure
a literal expert. I don't think the caliber of which you could find anyone on my level.
I love it, man. This is the Vet, like absolutely egoing it up. I like it, dude. I like it.
The only one caffeinated. Chris ain't the only one caffeinated in this one.
Well, you know what? That makes 3 of us. I'm pretty caffeinated myself, man. But I'm gonna go and hit the H2O. I think I need it.
I'm drinking,
what are your gentlemen's caffeines of choice?
Cherry
Pepsi, huh?
Pepsi Zero.
I'm actually drinking Pepsi as well, but just the standard Pepsi.
Oh, did you think that was going to be a sponsor of last night's Royal Rumble, but it turned out to be sad?
Oh, dude.
Don't worry, there's still the chamber, Jimmy, which you could be at. You might see a Pepsi sponsorship emerge from that.
I don't know how I feel about that, man. Too much sponsorship in the Rumble last night. Now, I think it was way too much, and I'm not sure that I actually dig it.
Yeah. Retro Rock Review also says Chris is the guy that abandoned us. Listen.
Why?
Retro, take a shot for abandonment issues. All right, I don't know what to tell you. I was on vacation. It's okay. just take another drink for abandonment issues.
Don't tell him to take another shot, dude. He was in timeout the last time. I gave him a red card. First, I gave him a yellow card. I warned him. Then a red card. Got him the hell out. And then he was upset with me. So, Retro, I've got my eyes on you.
Retro, don't get mad. Get drunk.
Not even. Just drunk.
Fuck. All right. Well,
and don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dickhead.
Sorry.
Okay, don't be a dick, especially to Vet. If you piss off Vet, Vet's gonna eat you alive. It won't be good. It won't. It'll barely be entertaining. It'll just be Vet. Like he'll say 3 things and he'll make you sad. Okay, don't do it.
I could cut a promo that could end any wrestler's career. I can certainly finish Retro off.
I love it, man. This is already off to a banger. I love it when the Vet's like this, man. It's pretty rare.
Speaking of finishing people off, Vince McMahon is in the news.
You don't say.
Oh boy.
We need to know his opinion about this.
Yeah, Vet, I haven't heard your opinion. You've probably given it somewhere because you're on a podcast every day. No? Oh my God, we're going to get Vet's unfiltered opinions on what happened with Vince McMahon, his girlfriend, who he was pimping out, and also who he apparently pooped on. Vet, take us on a journey. What do you think?
Oh, where do you even begin?
Fuck.
I could do a series on this. So instead, I'll just condense it a little bit because I'm sure I'll be talking about it tomorrow night. I'm sure I'll be talking about it on Wednesday morning. So I'll give a condensed version. Number one, the only thing that's as disgusting as the stuff that we saw in the reports is the stuff that I see from people everywhere else who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And that extends to randos on social media. That extends to people I know. It extends to some people that I've even associated with or worked with. I never cease to get disappointed by what I see from people and their shitty takes on situations like this. And we talked about this same shit with with Chris Jericho recently. I don't remember, Chris, if we talked about it or if you were on vacation then.
I think it was you and I actually, Vet.
Yeah, but constantly disappointed everywhere I turn. It's become a theme in the past 5 years of just being disappointed with everybody in the world. But that's the baseline level of it. And it just gets frustrating to be in this space and talk about these things. And then even just to have to see somebody's comment, some ignorant, uneducated comment. When I've been prepping you for this, I've been telling you this stuff for years now. And it's like no one really listens or learns from the things that I've said. So that's another part of the disappointment.
I have, but I'm telling you, I've learned my lesson heaps of times through you, man. So, but sorry, continue on.
Jimmy, you're not particularly the company here, at least not necessarily. Because I didn't.
Thank God.
I didn't.
Actually, had a good
follow
take
too closely.
Right.
Anything that you had to say about it. So
I had a real good take. If you go back on the Smack Attack, you might be impressed. As a matter of at the end of the show, that is.
So if you play Smack Attack, just skip
at the end.
Skip to 1350, like 13 hours.
Right. Well, since we already brought up the Smack Attack telethon, I'll just say that don't worry about what John was saying, Jimmy. If a certain somebody didn't show up in the Rumble last night, it has nothing to do with New Japan contracts. Okay.
Thank you. So you did hear it.
I heard part of it. You never know when I'm listening.
I thought of you. I actually thought of you.
Yeah, don't. Everybody mind their P's and Q's at all times. Thank you. You never know who's lurking.
I appreciate that.
Spoiler alert, it's me. So
Vet, I'm going to ask you to sort of clarify, like what.
Yeah,
I don't want you to name names or anything if you don't feel comfortable naming names. But like, what specific like kind of takes are you so disappointed with? Like that's sort of what I'm wondering.
Well, for example, right? I see people talking about like this lady, okay, Janelle Grant, who was the same lady that we heard about before but wasn't named then. right?
Yep.
And a lot of people are they're making jokes, but the jokes I can tell come from a place of this is what I believe.
Okay.
But there's a thing that you have to understand about all this. Like, no matter what this may have started out as a relationship between them two, because I know the nature of these people and how this can sort of develop, it's I think it's a little unfair that people categorize her as a like Vince McMahon is somehow the victim of this. Right?
Come on. Yeah, no.
So that's as far as I'll get into that. I don't really need to elaborate much. I'm sure you guys can figure out what I'm trying to say. I mean, after all these years of like everybody telling stories about how Vince McMahon's a guy that's impossible to say no to, and guys that just want to pitch an angle and then walk out of his office not getting what they wanted or whatever, like these are grown men wrestlers and stuff like that say they got the Jedi mind trick pulled on them. So you don't think that he has that ability to take advantage of other people that may not have thought that they were getting into what they were getting into and not knowing how to get out of it? Just keep that in mind, like when you're trying to judge people that you don't know. Okay. Mm-hmm. But just telling you the kind of stuff that I've seen and been involved with, I can tell you it's very, very plausible, everything that happened. Okay. Or what that was reported to happen. But at the very least, even if you don't believe any of it, at the very least, all we can definitely say for sure is he's a fucking deadbeat, because he said he was going to pay up and he didn't, which is why we're hearing about it now. So whatever. But beyond that, I mean, if there's anything you specifically wanted to know my opinion on, or any of the aspects of it that you were curious about what I thought about, I mean, you guys can ask, but.
Well, I don't know, like nothing specifically. Like my opinion on this has always been and will always be when these things come up is I'm going to wait and see. I don't like to jump to conclusions one way or the other. I think Vince probably did this shit. I think Vince is a terrible human being. Like
he's
in general,
predator for a real
it wouldn't
man.
shock me if someone had concrete proof that Vince McMahon had sacrificed a baby. I'm not even joking. I'm serious. That's the kind of person I think Vince McMahon is. I don't think he's a good person. But I think that there's a difference between being a slime ball and being a slime ball criminally, right? So that's why it's a civil case, right? He's not being charged with any crime. He's being basically taken to a civil court. But at the same time, I do kind of have this opinion that, adults can choose to do things or not do things. And whether someone has a certain amount of power over you or not, you still, at the end of the day, have the ability to say, I can find another job. And I have a lot of sympathy for people who go through these situations. I don't have any sympathy for Vince McMahon. Let me just be clear on that. But this lady, I do have a lot of sympathy for, like, the situation that she found herself in. But at the same time, I don't really think of her as a poor lost little lamb either. I think that she agreed to do some things and now she regrets it because she didn't get her $3 million. I'm just not sure that I'm a wait and see kind of person. I want to wait and see what kind of proof comes out about what did or didn't happen, what was and wasn't agreed to. And that's always been my way. I want to wait and see. But at the same time, like, I don't think that we're talking about anybody in this story who's a perfect lost little child of Jesus. I don't see it in any of these people.
You don't have to be. That's the thing. You don't have to be for shit to get too far. Like, I'm already seeing it. Like, somebody that would consider themselves a comment king might want to take one of those comments back. It's like, he didn't do anything legally wrong. I don't know what you think the law is, but, like, again, assuming that this is true, because of course Vince McMahon says, I will vigorously defend myself, and then resigns, right? That's very vigorous of him. So let me put it to you like this, bro. The stuff that was described in some of those reports and allegations, right? That is the definition of rape. And rape occurs when anybody doesn't give consent at any time. So if you've been married for 30 years and the night you say that your wife says she has a headache and doesn't feel like it, and you go ahead anyway, it doesn't matter that she's been your wife for 30 years. That's still a rape. There's not a like, oh, well, in for a penny, in for a pound thing. So anything that she was forced to do that she didn't want to do is not legal. That is what is the kind of getting missed in some of this. Maybe some of you guys haven't read all the stuff, right?
I have. I've read it.
But
I haven't read everything.
I forgot to send you that.
I've read a lot of the highlights, right? I've read a
Right.
lot of what happened, but like my question is, how much did everybody involved know about how willing or unwilling she was to do the things that she was doing, right? Like, people have brought up Brock Lesnar, right? His name was brought up, right, as somebody who was involved in this. But from what I saw, again, maybe I didn't read it all, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I saw, basically he was sent a text message saying, "Hey, I'm available to fuck," and he said, "Okay, cool, let's fuck," and then a snowstorm got in the way, so they didn't fuck. But if that's all that Brock Lesnar was involved in, there's absolutely nothing against the law there. There's like, I mean, it's a shitty thing to go cheat on your wife. Let me just say that, right? It's a shitty thing to just have have somebody who's like, oh, it's my boss's pussy, so I can fuck her when I want. That's a very shitty thing. But like, if an adult is sending another adult a text message saying, "Hey, I'm down to fuck. Do you want to fuck?" At some point, there has to be, like you're saying, that as soon as somebody says no, that's rape. And you're right, 100%, 100%. If someone says, "No, I don't want to do this," and you force them to do it, that's rape. That is the definition of how rape works.
Right.
But again, like, I'm looking at it from the viewpoint of like all of the different people involved here and who knew what when and exactly how far people were pushed into doing things. I don't know the answer to that. Right? I don't know the answer to that, and that's why the court thing is going to happen, and I'm happy it's going to happen because, and again, like, I think that Ronda Rousey calling out fucking Bruce Pritchard the other day is beautiful. I want to see more of that shit. All of those cancerous motherfuckers in the back should all get called out. Every single one of them who's been involved.
Yeah. And on that, who dragged Ronda Rousey for just being disappointing, having a disappointing run and not being that, like she's phoning it in and this, all this shit. It's like, you do realize that all of this stuff was going on. And while that may not have been specifically a part of it, what was definitely a part of it was that she was set up to not succeed by that management team. You know what I mean? So, that's just one aspect of it, which probably compelled her to say something when nobody asked, right? Because she was already fed up, and she might not have even had anything to do with, what these allegations are specifically. But here's the thing. Just like any workplace, you guys, anybody that has a job with a workplace knows this. Sometimes gossip just gets to you whether you try to get into it or not. Like, you just try to like keep your blinders on and people are like, "Hey, did you hear that so-and-so did this?" So to answer your question about who knew of it, every single person that worked there knew a little bit of something. How much they knew we can't say, but everybody heard something and knew a little bit of something, but they may not have known how far it went. And that's the thing. But ultimately, like, what you're saying is you haven't read all the stuff. Other people say they haven't read all the stuff, but the problem is people are having takes. And in general, even besides this incident, in general, being around the wrestling community is nothing but people who don't know what they're talking about having takes. Some people have podcasts with hundreds of thousands of listeners who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And we're struggling here being small time, knowing exactly what we're talking about. So that's very frustrating to exist in that space. And sometimes it makes me want to just throw my hands up and say, fuck all this shit. If you ain't going to listen and nobody's going to listen, but you're going to listen to these fucking marks, then what am I doing here? So you know, that is a frustration. That's something that I got to deal with. But the reason I continue to deal with it is because all of you guys have been great for the most part. Some of you get out of line sometimes, but HMG family really is a family at times. So if the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it, for what I'm saying right now. But I'm talking about in general, like the big, you know, like the dirt sheet guys, any fucking JD from New York or whoever the fuck that doesn't know shit about shit, just going out there and just having outrageous takes. Like, and all these people can get fucked. All these people can get shit on. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would like to see, and I know it's never going to happen, I would like to see people who don't actually even read up on stuff shut the fuck up, is what I'd like to see. I just want to let people know that if I'm saying it with authority, then you can trust me. If I'm saying it and I say, I don't know, I don't know, I really don't know, then you can trust that I really don't know and I'm admitting that I don't know. But when I tell you Vince McMahon's a scumbag, when I told you that when this shit first came out and he did the tweet like, well, time to retire, you know, and I told you then, I said the only thing that would make Vince McMahon do something like that, the most arrogant, fucking conceited, the most power hungry man in the world that the world has ever seen, and that covers a lot of ground, saying he's just going to retire voluntarily. I said somebody has something on this fucking guy and he's afraid it's going to get out. So he's trying to get out in front of it and get out of the way before it hits him, right? This is probably what that was, if not more. So I called it back then. If you didn't want to listen to me, fine. I don't know what it's going to take to get you guys to listen, but I've been trying to tell you, I've been trying to prep you for this for months, if not years. So that's my thoughts on the Vince McMahon thing, is I told you so in general.
Right on. Well, I can back that up too. I can say, you know, in all seriousness, after, you know, what, at this point we've been podcasting together off and on for what, a year, Vet? I can say that, like, Vet is legitimately, like, he's that guy. If Vet says something, it's because that's actually, like, Vet is either sure of a thing to say it, or he'll just say, I don't know. Like, Vet is like 100% like accountable to himself in terms of this kind of stuff, even when it comes to the review process. Most of us who do reviews will sometimes cheat a little bit and we'll try to review something that we didn't really watch or that we only kind of watched while we were taking a piss or whatever. Vet will 100% of the time tell you, I didn't see that, I wasn't watching this, that this was, he just does not cheat at all when it comes to his own, like, authenticity. So if he's telling you something, it's because it's what he actually believes or what he actually thinks is true. Vet is, like, he's that guy. So just to give my own 2 cents on it, Vet is that guy.
Absolutely. I just want to say, man, I've said this a million times already, but I'm sure we already know this, right? This goes way back since the 80s when it comes to Vince's sex capades, if you know what I'm saying. It's no secret. We've all known it. You know what I mean? The ones that have followed WWE pretty much all our lives definitely know what Vince McMahon is all about. He just got someone, for once, came out and fucked him up. Really, let's be honest, right? Every other female that has tried in the past, it went nowhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Well, it went nowhere.
And we're literally in a world now where people see. This is my thing, right? I prefer always to wait and see, right? Let's let the legal process play out, and we'll see what happens, right? Because I've seen a lot of people jump on something and say, "Oh, this was this thing," and it wasn't, right? Like, you know, the people talk about the George Floyd riots, right? But again, like I was saying yesterday when I was on a show with Jimmy, there was a riot in Chicago that same summer that literally 3 people died in the riot. Like 3 people were murdered. They were killed in this riot in Chicago during that summer. But that wasn't over George Floyd. it was over another allegation of police brutality that wound up not having happened. So 3 people lost their lives over an over-exaggeration about something that didn't even happen, which is why my constant, like, I harp on this. Wait and see. Wait and see. Wait and see. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to say, I think Vince McMahon's a piece of shit. He probably did this shit. But just don't be saying for sure that you know something happened, you know, unless you were there. You can have an opinion, but like you said, there's these people, you know, on the internet right now, the fucking, you know what I mean? You've got these idiots who do pro wrestling podcasts and stuff with hundreds of thousands of listeners, and they're up here talking about, oh, I think she's just blah, 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 blah. Or like, okay, but if you're going to have that hard a take on something, you should have something to back it up. Like, Vet has more than just historical accuracy on his side when he says Vince McMahon's a piece of shit. Because I think at this point, it's pretty well documented, period. Vince McMahon is a piece of shit.
And well, yeah, and not just that, man. I mean, it's karma right now, really. He should have been locked up for so much shit that he's done in the past that he never got locked up for. Like I brought up, I think, with you yesterday, Chris, like the Owen Hart incident, right, over the edge. The fact that the event still continued on, for example, to me, I felt like he did it on purpose just to contaminate the crime scene, right? Because after that, he totally fucked it. It was a crime scene. He should have stopped right then and there. For example,
I just think that Vince McMahon has no respect for the sanctity of life at all. That's what I mean. Like, if somebody came out and said that they had proof of Vince McMahon murdering a baby, I would not be shocked. I'd go, yeah, that's fucked up, but that checks. Like, that fucking checks out, man.
Right.
Like,
and as far as the women,
already covered up murders, for fuck's sakes. Like, everybody,
Jimmy Snuka, right? I mean,
Snuka, but like, he murdered his fucking girlfriend.
It's true. And not just that. I mean,
allegedly.
Yeah, exactly. But remember, what was that? What was the ring announcer's name from the 80s, Vet? You would probably remember. I think Brian McGurk or something like that.
Mike McGurk.
Mike McGurk. That's it, Brian.
Leroy McGurk's daughter was
right.
Like, yeah, she was a ring announcer for a while.
There was allegations with her too. That's part of the reason why she left WWF back then in the first place. Right, and she was a great ring announcer.
Yeah, this stuff is been, dude. The first time a motherfucker gets money, this shit starts happening.
Right,
and it only gets crazier because after a while, that's the thing you don't understand. Because people were saying back when they were just, you know, calling this chick a prostitute back when she didn't have a name. You know, one of the things they're saying is like, you know, oh God, you could get cheaper hookers than that. You know, and it's like, look. Vince McMahon, if he pays somebody to do exactly what he wants, he doesn't get anything from that. That's what you guys don't get about a guy like this. It needs to be that they're humiliated, that they're suffering, that it's a power that you're exercising over them, making them do things that they don't want to do. That's what gets him off. It's not just
rape isn't about sex.
It's not about sex. To him, it is probably both, but it's just the whole thing. It's like, that's what he wants to ruin somebody. We've seen it in ways like alleged ways like this, or we've seen it in just minor ways, just fucking with people at work, you know, like pushing somebody in the pool is the funniest thing ever. How many times have you heard that story about Vince? He just laughs when people get pushed in a pool. It's like that kind of shit. Yes. You know, you do that in public, and then behind closed doors, you and John Laurinaitis tag team somebody against their will, right? Like, that's what you do because, you know, that's who you are. So, you know, fine. You know, the only Vince McMahon story I can tell you from a firsthand account is the least of his, like, transgressions or whatever, is what I saw, okay? And it's when we're all lined up and we're doing rehearsals, and we have to wear the druid things, right? And we have to pull the hoods over our faces because our faces can't be seen, right? So Vince McMahon struts out on stage, walking among everybody, and just like, you know, and like he's just to the random guy that he happened to be standing by. He's like, how are those hoods? Can you see? Can you see all right through there? All right. And the guy's like, so. Because it was kind of like you could see through it, but you know, just like any piece of cloth, you pull it up tight, you can see through it, but it's not great, you know. So he's like, so. And Vince's response is, well, can we get somebody out here that can see a little bit better than so-so?
Oh,
and I never saw that guy the rest of the day.
Wow.
He like not just like, oh, well, all right, just do your best or anything like that where he could just brush it off. No, it's like, get this guy the fuck out of my building because he told the truth when I asked him a question. That's the kind of guy he is, and I can tell you that 100% that happened. No rumors or allegations there. That happened, and that was the least thing about Vince McMahon I've ever heard, as far as being a dick. But that's the kind of guy that can, of course, everything is totally believable. Now, Chris is right in one sense, is that we don't know anything for sure. But if you look at how things played out,
no specifics for sure, but we can know
right.
a lot of things.
So, but what you can do is you can go and look at the stuff that's been submitted and made public, and you can decide for yourself before you call her a hooker. So the other thing too is that when you look at the timeline and other things that I've told you, I told you, that I believed that Triple H was like waiting his turn like a nice young man, right? And he could see it was never going to happen. And then he had a heart attack. And then fucking Vince went in and demolished NXT. And then all of a sudden, when he gets out of the hospital, all of a sudden a bunch of shit gets flung at Vince McMahon. Now, do you really think that that's an accident? It was probably like, all right, motherfucker, that is the last straw. I've 100%. Covered for you the last time. You're going to disrespect me like this. What you're doing to people, and you're mad at me still because I married your daughter. Like, all right, gloves are off now. Fuck you. I'm taking it from you. You're not going to give it up like you should, you senile motherfucker. I'm taking it. I'm the cerebral assassin. So who do you think is probably helping get Janelle Grant all this stuff that she's able to use as evidence, ammunition, and stuff like that? Who's giving her the numbers of people? Who's hooking her up and helping her do this, empowering her to do this?
100%.
That's just my theory. That's a legend too. 100% that's a legend. But the timeline fits.
It fits. It's sorry.
Highlight Todd's last comment because it's definitely, I think, part of it. That was around the time Steph left too.
It is. It's Stephanie. Nick Khan is also part of it. Shane and Shane as well, but more particularly Stephanie, Nick Khan, and Triple H. And the timeline does add up.
You guys ever see the movie The Kane Mutiny? It's kind of old, but no. So in it, there's like a Navy captain who has clearly gone insane, and his crew has to mutiny against him because he's losing his mind and he's becoming unreasonable. And he's punishing people, right? So it's very reminiscent of that, like how I imagine this is playing out based on all the evidence that I see in front of me. If you know how to read between the lines, read the tea leaves, as Stevie Ray likes to say. Like if you know what you're looking at, you can read this. Like it's like the Matrix, right?
100%.
To a lot of people, they just see a bunch of green weird characters, but if you know how to read the Matrix and you can see the shit lining up, it kind of makes a little bit more sense. Again, alleged on my part, I admit that, but it's not only fun to think about, but it's also like very, very plausible, and the timeline fits.
Not just say it's really easy to put the dots together. You don't even need to be told. It's obvious. It's out there. Like, it doesn't take much brain power to really figure it out. It's no secret. I mean, look at his interview. I don't know if you saw this, Vet, between Vince McMahon, and this is, again, lines up with the timeline, and Pat McAfee. Did you check that out at all, Vet? Have you seen that?
Are you, when he was on the show? Or
on the Pat McAfee show?
I don't think I listened to the whole thing. I've only heard clips of it, so.
You've got to check it out, man, because he says on that show that you can't trust family. He basically
I heard
was saying
that
right. He was pretty much putting his family there. You knew exactly who he was referring to. And this is right after he came back in power. You know what I mean? And he pretty much said it there. And you know, like, they're not on good terms. None of them. You know what I mean? Him and Linda have been, they're still married on paper. Linda's living in Florida. He's living in Connecticut. You know what I mean? And they've been a de facto, in a de facto marriage pretty much for what, 30 years probably at this point. She's got her own boyfriend. She knows what he's been doing all throughout these years. It's no secret, you know what I mean? There's so many allegations, even with women. I don't know if you ever heard that. Many years ago, where he essentially told her, if you want to be part of the company, fellatio her, basically. You know what I mean? And I'll see a lot of people say about Mae Young back in the day, it was Moolah really that was doing that originally, not Mae Young.
Yeah, Moolah was a bad.
But that was her own problem. That was way before he ever. Yeah.
No, way before. I just wanted to point it out because people were saying that in the chat. I'm thinking it's not Mae Young, it's Moolah. But anyway.
Craziness. All right, let's move on to the Rumble real quick. Vet, did you get a chance to watch the Rumble? Do you have any thoughts about anything that you saw?
I just saw the last half of the men's Rumble. That's all I've seen because I woke up when it was on, so I just turned it on. I should have gone back to bed.
Me too. I woke up.
I turned it on. I watched it. The right guy won. But other than that, yeah. It's not going to be it was clear that they went on the strength of what they'd been building up themselves rather than in the past. They've just been relying too much on surprises and not realizing it's like, hey, you can have all the surprises you want and everybody immediately knows they're not winning it. So great. No, you had a surprise. At least with this one, you had some intrigue over like two main guys that you were pretty sure was going to win, but you could see either one of them winning. So that the rest of the Rumble show I have to check out later, but I have not. Other than the results, I don't.
Can I ask you one thing though, Vet? Actually, because me and Chris have got a completely different take on this. Is he going to finish the story, Cody, this time round, or is it possible? And he did actually say, to your credit, Chris, on the press conference, he said maybe I won't finish my story till WWE 2K25 comes out. And I straight away thought of you, right? What you said, Chris. I'm thinking, maybe he's onto something. So in saying that, is he going to finish the story this year in 2024? Or could he possibly become a choker again by winning the Rumble and not beating Reigns?
I think there's a 95% chance he finishes the story.
I think you're not 100% sure.
Well, the only 5% is, are they really that fucking stupid? So we're going to see.
I agree.
Because my theory was, not an Austin theory, but my theory was that last year, everything was building to Cody winning until Vince changed the finish. Like Triple H wanted it to be Cody, and Vince said, no, we're not doing it just because fuck you. That's like, which also fits with my timeline of NXT. I'm going to demolish your NXT because fuck you. I'm just going to do everything to fuck you. You're in the hospital with a heart attack. Fuck you. You wanted Cody to win the WrestleMania. Fuck you. Like, it's all fuck you to your son-in-law. And that ruined everything, because if you watch, like I keep saying it, same thing over and over again, broken record. If you watch how everything played out after WrestleMania, it would have made much more sense with Cody as the champion, and they just did it anyway. They just did it as with Roman as the champion, even though it made no sense. Roman was going after tag team championships. Like, what the fuck would that? Why would you be doing that? That makes much more sense if you're if you've lost what you've lost and you're trying to rebuild it. Essentially, the bloodline is done. They just forgot to tell anybody in the bloodline, right? Like, they just keep it going on life support, probably because the plan was right last year's wrong, get this out of the way. Perfect. It would have been the perfect story. It's now just a blemish. It's still like a nice, it's a nice Bugatti, but it's just got a scratch on the paint job now because somebody keyed it last year. But other than that, it's perfect. But they're just going to do what they would have done. They'll give it to Cody. They'll probably have Walter beat Cody in a month or whatever and take it off him. And then everybody can stop complaining about how they don't like Cody. But the only thing that matters is you have the big anniversary show, the big moment. the big American, the Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, all that stuff. Just get that all done and get it out of the way, wrap it up, give everybody the sigh of relief. Okay, Roman's done. He doesn't want to be here anymore. He's done with this. He shows up once every 3 months to have a match. We can stop playing around with this. We can let the bloodline be dead. We don't have to keep it on life support. We can unplug it now. And then they'll go on with whatever they have planned after that.
And it's funny because since last year from WrestleMania, the bloodline has done nothing really, essentially, for the past year. So when you put it like that, you're right. It feels like it should have ended then, because that was when the bloodline really died. Even from the Sami Zayn match, right? It was on its way to dying, and then Cody was supposed to put the final nail in the coffin.
Right.
But
Sammy was the sacrifice.
Right, exactly.
Right? That was supposed to get you to want Cody to get not only get what he wanted, but do it for Sammy, because they fucked Sammy. So Sammy was the sympathy figure. He got his great moment in his hometown. He got the heartbreak in his hometown, which was perfect for Cody's story. And that was supposed to be the happy ending. And Vince was like, fuck your ending, fuck your story, fuck everything. I'm changing the finish. And, Roman's going over for literally no good reason. So that's what I think happened. This year, the sacrifice could have been The Rock. If they do Elimination Chamber, Roman versus The Rock, and then...
It seems like it now.
Roman...
The road we're going down.
Yeah, if Roman beats The Rock down, they're like, oh my God, and especially if they get some heat on him, then it's like, oh, Cody, come on, you've got to do it, man. Take the belt off this guy. If they do it right, they could beg for anybody to do it. You know what I mean? So I just think that's what needs to happen, just so everybody can stop talking about it, if no other reason than that. But mostly because you should have done it last year, and this isn't last year, but it's the next best thing to last year.
It's literally a reset. Let's start that again. Let's do it all over again, except it's not as, it's not as epic as it was last year, really, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. But you're right. I feel the same way. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. If he loses it, I think the fans will turn. It's now or never, in my opinion.
That's what you said last year.
But it really was last year. They had to do it then.
And the audience numbers did what since last year? Went up or went down?
They're lucky. But one more year, they're lucky that they stayed with Cody. I'm serious. They were, dude. They were lucky because the fans could have turned. But now, are you telling me if he doesn't win the championship, you telling me the fans might not turn, man? Because he's full of shit. He looks like he's full of shit.
I think as long as he keeps leaning into the fact that he's Dusty's son, the fans are not going to turn on him. I think he could lose again at this WrestleMania. He could come back next year, win the Rumble from number 1 instead of number 15 and number 30 and all these later numbers where he's not actually eliminating anybody. And it doesn't actually look like he's even fucking tired by the end of the Rumble. No idea why anybody hasn't noticed that the last 2 years with Cody Rhodes. He doesn't even look fucking tired by the end of these Rumbles. So it doesn't look like he's earned it. It doesn't look like he's scraped and made his way back to the dance. I honestly think that doing it next year would be better for Cody Rhodes as a story. I think that, I think that as much as you guys would hate it, I think general audiences are more interested in the chase.
Yeah, but chasing for too long, I don't know. It's dangerous, man. That's 3 years of chasing, Chris.
Yeah, I know. But that's the kind of story that Triple H likes too. Somebody going to Triple H and saying, "Hey, I've got a 3-year storyline to pitch you." Triple H is the kind of guy who will listen. I
don't know. People don't have patience like that anymore, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Could be onto something. We'll see. Right?
We'll see. Right? Last year was the same thing. I said Cody wasn't going to win. Everybody told me I was fucking crazy. Okay. This year again, I don't see Cody winning. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong this year, and that's fine. I'm totally fine being wrong, but I still think that for the sake of the story, it can't be someone from the outside taking down the bloodline. There has to be something more to it, and I think that as much as nobody wants to fucking hear it, and as much as everybody's like, "Oh, he wouldn't do that to the company," I actually think that The Rock beating Roman Reigns makes more sense for the story of the bloodline.
But see, I can see this scenario also. The Rock defeats, if it happens at Elimination Chamber, and there's a good chance that it could, right? If The Rock beats Roman there, if it happens, that's him killing the bloodline right there for Cody to come in and just put the final nail in the coffin. It's just him and Roman, no Uso brothers. By this point, they've imploded. You know what I mean? That's what I think could happen.
I mean,
the
I
Rock
can see
winning.
a
It's like
situation-
you now. This isn't The Rock anymore, Chris. That's the problem with that. He can call himself whatever he wants. What he is a 50-year-old actor who has no reason to want to be a wrestling champion. Like none.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't
Like
think
not in kayfabe, not as a shoot. He has no reason to want to be the WWE champion. And the fans were sick of him in 2002. So The Rock can fuck off. The reason it has to be Cody is just because it's the one that gives the most catharsis. I'm not saying it's your favorite. I'm saying that's what it is. And it is tied to Dusty. And who cares if it's tied to Dusty? But even if you really don't care about any of that, the bottom line is this Roman Reigns shit has limped along for the past year. It needs to get put out of its misery because it really can't go another. That's why that probably more than anything is why. I mean, if you think Roman Reigns is a draw, he can come out and draw anytime you want, just not with that belt.
I still just don't like the ending to the story if it's some guy from the outside finishing the bloodline. I mean, I'm not arguing
but however,
I'm not arguing that, like what I'm saying is 100% true. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
it's not, because if you remember the promos, that's one of the reasons why it sucks so bad they didn't pull the trigger last year, because Heyman and Cody turned me around on it. Heyman, Cody, and Roman, and the promos they cut and the stories they told in the ring with the microphones turned me around on Cody. They said, okay, I get it now. It makes sense. There is a connection. It's not from the outside. Dusty was a part of Roman Reigns' development. And this is his, that they told that story. Just like Punk told the story about Cody from OVW, of which I was there. I put hands on Cody Rhodes before he ever stepped foot in a professional wrestling ring in front of an audience. I had my hands on Cody. I didn't even know who the fuck he was. I just worked out with him and we shook hands and that was it. And then later on I saw him in the ring and I was like, what the fuck? That's Dusty Rhodes' son? So like the story is there. If you missed it, okay.
But you know the story because you know the story.
No, they actually said it on SmackDown.
I don't think
what
they've
Vet's
done a
talking
good enough
about.
job at telling that story.
You missed it. That's it.
Okay.
It was on SmackDown.
You missed it. Yeah, I know you weren't watching Raw because you said you weren't. So either you're a liar or you missed all those great promos they did to lead up to WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, I mean, I watched, like, I was watching wrestling before Mania last year. I was watching WWE product, but I didn't see that story get told the way that you guys are talking about it. But hey, maybe I'm wrong, and we'll see what happens.
It did happen.
There's no sense in us going back and forth and arguing, all day about it. And
well, actually, it was on Raw. It was before Roman. Roman didn't appear in that promo with Heyman on Raw, and then that following SmackDown, Roman appeared because Cody came over, and they sort of repeated it again about the history of that.
It was everything was so great. Paul Heyman was crying, like but it was legit, but it was still disingenuous somehow. Like everything they did was so good. And one of the reasons when the referee counted to 3 and Cody lost, I was laughing because I was like, oh my God, they really didn't do it. Like, you wasted all that good stuff. You can't just say that stuff again. Like, hey, Roman, my dad is still Dusty Rhodes. And just say everything he said last year, but put still in front of it. I'm still going to finish my story. My dad is still Dusty Rhodes. He still didn't win the Garden. I still want to. Like, you blew it, and now it's just a retread.
Not just that. Check out what he said on the press conference.
How long
he was
did
in
Dusty
tears
lose before he won?
Huh?
Yeah, but
how long and how often did Dusty lose before he won?
I mean, what point is that supposed to make?
I'm just saying. I think
in Florida though, and shit, he was winning championships.
Yeah, eventually, but he understood, and I think a lot of people involved understand that it's not just the chase, it's the overcoming of obstacles that really creates a story, that really creates a heroic story. You know what I mean? And
Like a
I,
torn
I
pick, and
yeah, but that's not like he tore his
Right,
pec
they
and
put
then
him
he
so over
left.
last year.
well,
Well, he was
no,
injured.
he won the Rumble. See, that's the thing. Like the torn pec took him out of all the obstacles that he was overcome that you're trying to talk about. He didn't get a chance to do that because he had to rehab an injury.
And
But they
and
probably
then
had a
when he came
roadmap for
and
him.
then when he came back, but that's what I'm saying. He didn't tell a story of overcoming because he was injured. And I listen, I'm saying in
But
real
he
life, that's a
overcame.
pretty fucking awesome story. He overcame that injury. But what I'm telling you is that, like, as a storyteller, as somebody who writes stories, that's not a compelling story for an audience who's trying to watch the story. But the story is, oh well, I couldn't actually show up for all of the things that I was gonna go through because my pec was torn. And then, by the way, I earned a chance at the title by being the final person in an elimination match, and I eliminated a guy who was there from the very beginning and who had already wrestled for over an hour. And I just don't think that I never thought that that was going to be a culmination. I never thought that that would be. Now, they could get there between now and Mania. They could do some dastardly stuff and make Cody really earn it, but I haven't seen it yet. And again, it's a personal thing, right? You guys feel one way, I feel a different way. It's totally fine. There's nobody. I'm not trying to
Wasted
say
all the
who's
good stuff.
good or bad. I'm just saying.
They wasted it. They wasted it. It was so good and they wasted it. They just wasted it. They had a real build that took a bitter, jaded, hurt, old, fucking tired guy like me and made me buy it. And then they just fucking wasted it. Like, and they didn't even touch. They didn't touch once. They just stood across the ring from each other and talked. And I was like, Cody's got to do it. And they didn't fucking do it. So
No, they didn't.
yeah.
But anyway, speaking of not doing it when you have a lot in front of you, let's talk about this tertiary promotion, shall we, guys?
You said, well, yeah, I don't have a lot in front of me with this.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the collision, and we'll yeah,
Oh, shit.
we'll sift through
Can
the
we?
record, boys. Um, we start with Wild Thing playing over the speakers, which that totally heelish moment where the whole crowd loudly yells the heel team's entrance. That was my notes. Come to find out, Cesaro was slapping hands at ringside, so apparently they're faces again.
Yep.
This fucking company. They're facing Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. So
I'm to understand, Chris, that you have no idea who these guys are, right? Like you've never seen them before.
no, I know who they are.
Okay.
I've seen Lee Moriarty. I think Lee Moriarty is actually, low key a fun in-ring guy. He's a guy that I think you could probably use as an in-ring competitor for your show, as long as you just didn't put a cat mask on him and stop talking about stupid shit that doesn't make any sense, like Tyga style, unless you were going to actually bring in a Wu-Tang reference and actually do it like that. But if you're just going to call it Tyga style because he wrestles a catch-as-catch-can style, no, don't do that. Also, Shane Taylor, not bad. It's the first time I've seen him in ring. He's a little slow because he's carrying some extra weight. But he wasn't bad. This match, as a match, wasn't embarrassing. Nobody had any major missteps where, it looked terrible, except there was one point where I was wondering if something happened. And that was, there was a point where Claudio was looking back to his corner, like they were going to try to do a desperation spot, right? Where Claudio was like reaching, trying to get back, but then the heels, cut him off, and, they were trying to do that spot. But Moxley was laying on the fucking ground. And I mean, he was sitting on the ground holding his hand for like 4 or 5 minutes in this match, to where I think that they missed a spot. Like, I think they actually missed a spot where he was supposed to stand up and be on the corner so that Claudio could do the desperation spot. maybe I'm wrong, but that seemed like a bit of a misstep. Other than that, this match was fine, but is this a feud?
Jimmy, was it last week when John Moxley just came out and beat Shane Taylor and then cut a promo rambling about some nonsense?
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
Great.
There's your story.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, again, so this is the same thing as like the Dustin Rhodes going over on Willie Mack thing. And
We'll talk more
We'll
about
get
Willie
onto
Mack
Willie
today.
Mack. Oh my
sure,
god.
we'll get to Willie Mack later, but that's just what I thought of. I was like,
Right.
oh, geez, you
'Cause
guys
Dustin-
didn't know how to do this.
Because Dustin needed the win. I mean, Dustin needed the win in 2024, right?
He needed
I mean,
to finish his story, his own story,
Yeah.
which is challenging Christian for the TNT championship out of nowhere. It was a quick story. It was one of those quick ones, like an Instagram story, really, is more like what it was.
And that's the thing about AEW. They're quick stories. You know what I've noticed, though, really, with AEW? They're doing so-called stories, and I say that in AEW terms, right? How they look at stories. There's no promos, and then there's cage matches. We'll get to that, obviously. I'm just putting it out there. Well, all I saw was wasn't it a photo that got burnt, and that was it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it.
And so,
Print
so
out.
Just
far,
quietly.
and so far,
printout.
Shane Taylor has come into this company to lose to Keith Lee and then get beaten up by John Moxley and then get beaten by John Moxley and Cesaro. Is he a threat? Because
I mean, at this point, no. But I'm starting to feel like he might turn into one if they keep booking him like this. It's too bad he's just so damn professional, you know? Like, you look at a guy like John Moxley, it looks like he was just digging in the trash can outside. Then you look at Shane Taylor and you're like, yeah, who would win? Really? You know,
Really?
maybe
He's
just
getting
avoid
punched,
maybe
bro.
just avoid putting these people in the same vicinity, you know?
Moxley
Let
will
John
get
Moxley
eaten.
go over on Serpentico real quick, and then you can give something else to Shane Taylor. Like,
Yeah.
that's an idea.
Willie Mack, for instance.
For
might make
instance.
sense as something to do with those two. Anyway, there's a lady backstage. I can't remember her fucking name. It's the backstage lady who isn't Renee.
Oh,
Lexi.
DDP's. Yeah, Lexi.
Lexi.
DDP's.
She's trying to talk to
daughter.
Commander. But Roddy Strong is there to yell Commander's name and then to suggest that he's going to go help him win. Which Tony Schiavone later said he did help him win, which is not what happened. We'll get to it.
That's not what happened, no.
That's not what happened, Tony. But we'll get there. Anyway, Lexi's hair or whatever the fuck, she has this conversation with them, and Commander shakes hands, but it's made clear to us that Commander doesn't speak English. He doesn't know what the hell just happened, except that I'm pretty sure I've heard Commander cut a promo in English before. So
Has he?
fuck this company. Yeah.
You can always
Really?
pretend. That's the
Yeah.
cool part about, being bilingual. You can always pretend.
Right.
See.
All right.
So let's not talk about this, but let me just put it out there that Lexi was involved. Now, Lexi's got her own angle running on Ring of Honor because she and
does?
Billy Starks are
Good one.
Athena's minions, right? And now Athena's getting ready to be in a program with Nyla Rose. So Nyla Rose and Lexi on this week's Ring of Honor had what I would consider a vignette or segment or whatever you want to call it, an interaction, if you will, that was way, way too good for Ring of Honor, way
Really?
too good for Collision, way too good for Dynamite. It was too good,
Seriously?
and nobody probably saw it. So if you want to, scrub through a Ring of Honor replay and just watch that thing with Nyla and Lexi. Even though you don't know what's going on in the story, just watching them two and do their thing backstage, like, you'll be like, well, damn, why can't we get something like this on one of the shows we do watch? Okay, that's what I'll tell
Seriously.
you.
It
I'll
was
look
that
it up.
actually. It was actually decent.
I'm sorry,
I'll
who
look it
am I?
I'll look it up. Yeah,
I
no,
know,
honestly.
I know, of
When
course,
Vet
but,
tells
you know.
to look something up, just fucking look it up, man. I like if Vet gives you something to and he says this is worth your time, it's worth your time. Vet has maybe sent me like 3 videos in the entire time that I've known him, but every single time it's been like, wow, I really get why you sent me this video. Like, you sent me that one where it was the skinny English guy against Okada.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Mhm.
Fuck, that match was awesome. That was such a good fucking wrestling match. So yeah, if that tells you to go watch something, just go fucking watch it. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, everybody bookmark that.
Yes. Orange Cassidy versus Commander is up next.
Oh, guys, if you missed this, you got to go scrub through a replay of Collision and watch Orange Cassidy versus Commander. Because let me I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I just had to get it in. The timing was perfect.
Please don't bury the what I just gave to you. Okay, I just gave you a great promo about how wonderful you are. You're burying it already. If you told me beforehand that this match was for the Cruiserweight Championship and that these guys were generally competing against other cruiserweights, I would have hated this less. It wasn't a terrible match, as in people weren't stepping all over themselves. It was relatively smooth, except that Canadian Destroyer looked like it was pretty close to crippling fucking Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, he landed sideways on his head, sort of thing.
Like this, with his fucking head on the. That's not.
And then got up and no-sold it straight away.
Well, that's just par for the course. But in the back of my mind, I know that 3 weeks from now, one of these fucking idiots is going to beat Brian Cage in the middle of the ring with no shenanigans.
You called it too. And what happens later? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, as a cruiserweight match, it was okay. Too much Orange Cassidy isms. I don't like Orange Cassidy. I don't think he's a star. People keep telling me that, yeah, he's not. He isn't, because if he was, he'd have done it by now.
I agree with you, Chris. I can't stand Orange Cassidy, but I'll say one thing about him. At least he's got something that's different from everybody else. You know what I mean? And that's what makes him stand out.
It's true. And in a company like this, where it's basically just Tony Khan going, you know what? I want to see a match between these two guys. What story? What story? Just, I want to see the match because I like matches. Yeah, at least Orange Cassidy has character. I mean, I don't think it's an interesting character, but at least it's fucking something.
Didn't OC just give him the match because he felt like it?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, that's what he does. He walks in and he's like, look, I know what you're going to say. You want a shot at this? And then, yeah.
So he just gave it to him. Yeah, like, cool.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy's my favorite. You know, it was cool when he did that thing, like when he was in the, he was like, I don't know how you even describe it. He was riding Commander like a...
They were setting up for the gory special, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to do a gory special, and he put his hands in his pockets and got up on his shoulders. Come on.
Anyway, Roderick Strong comes down to ruin the day.
Commander!
I thought that this arena was so full that if Roddy and the Kingdom took 2 people, they could probably take out the entire arena. Looking kind of bad with the fucking attendance figures here, guys.
What's Roddy Strong's problem, though? Where did this happen? Did I miss something?
Roddy Strong is a fucking clown. That's basically what I've been given to understand watching this company for the last long time. Unless he has a black mask on. If he has a black mask on, then he does clever, interesting, devilish things that actually seem like they could be, effective, right? But if he takes the black mask off, he's a total fucking goof.
Roderick Strong wants to be the international champion, and he came out and told Orange Cassidy, like, I'm taking this from you at Revolution. So we've got that long to wait until this match happens. So it's like a whole other month and a week. So like
5 weeks.
So 5 weeks that you get to see Roddy and Orange interact. Fun fact, Orange is bigger and in better shape than Roderick Strong.
Yeah. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Anyway, Commander takes out the Kingdom by doing his little walk on the rope and then diving out to the outside thing. Yes, it's physically impressive, but
he's going to fall one day. I'm telling you, he just makes it every time.
Yeah, well, he might not. Anyway, he comes back into the ring and Orange Cassidy wins with the Orange Punch. Tony Schiavone then says, so they actually did help Commander win the match. Swing and a miss, Tony. That's not what happened. Anyway, does anyone else remember when these guys were smart? Because they had black masks and that made them smart?
They were pretty dumb even then.
That was, but it was better. Maybe it was just because they had masks on and I didn't have to look at their faces.
I don't know. I feel like the clown stuff is more their level. I think trying to take a guy that looks like Matt Taven seriously is a fruitless endeavor.
That's yeah. You might that might.
He wears
be
Mickey Mouse gloves.
He wears. That's exactly
Oh
what
my
the
God.
fuck I think every time I see him wrestle. Is why the what? Why is Steamboat Willie in this match? What the fuck is going on?
Well, speaking of Mickey Mouse,
Yeah.
tell me, did you
Public
check out
domain,
the promo?
man. It's public
Yeah.
domain now. Steamboat Willie's public domain. He can wear all the gloves he wants. He can wear the whole outfit.
But did you guys check out the Goofy and Mickey Mouse promo between Cody and CM Punk? Anyone seen
I
that?
didn't watch it, but I saw that.
Oh
somebody
my
did.
God. I never watched it. I saw it around, but then John played it. That is the funniest fucking thing I've heard in a long time. It's pretty funny. You guys should go and check it out. Trust me. It's them talking the whole promo, but someone put, I guess, AI with
Yeah,
Goofy
AI,
voice
yeah.
and Mickey, and it's freaking hilarious, man.
Jesus, Retro. He says he'd like to see Louisiana. He's only seen 2 states so far, New York and Idaho.
Well, first of all, he's
He's in
Canadian.
Canada,
Second of all, he's
yeah.
been in space. So
He was.
like he's
He
seen
was.
all the states. He just hasn't been on the ground seeing them.
I see. But he's really run the gambit, right? Like from New
Yeah, yeah.
York to Idaho. Like New York.
Well, he went
is
from
like-
space
it's
to
like the
Idaho,
biggest,
Chris.
Like it's the craziest fucking state in the world, right? There's just people everywhere, and then Idaho is just a big blank rock with nothing but potatoes. That's fucking wonderful. That's you really ran.
But it
the
does
gambit.
border. Technically, it does border. So
Yeah, that's true.
From space to Idaho. I like it.
It's good stuff. All right, so Daniel Garcia was backstage, and it looked like he had been eating a cherry Kool-Aid packet.
Yeah, bad. It looked
so
like
mix that, Daniel.
no shit. It looked like a Kool-Aid mix on him. Legit, like
That's the
legit.
kind of thing that'll cause type 2 diabetes. Don't do that.
But it looked mixed with water though. That's how stupid the color was.
Yeah. Well, he really likes getting stuff on his face, which will become a more of a thing with the rest of tonight. We'll talk more about.
I didn't
how
know
much
you
he
can
likes
get,
stuff on his face.
but I didn't know you can get biffed like that, right? And look so serious and just come out later on and kick ass. I guess, man.
That's because of how much of a
Must be
star
his-
Daniel Garcia is.
Now to give you guys like a sort, we'll give like a running vet update on my main event status for this. So like when I saw the graphic, I was like, okay, good. I could shave 20 minutes off my runtime. And then this happened, and I was like, ugh. And then I was like, well, if he ends up not in the main event, I can say because he was advertised for the main event, I still invoke my Daniel Garcia clause. But as we'll see
I'm gonna
going
say,
forward,
there was
I'll
another-
update
yeah.
again later. I'll update again later.
I already know what happened. All right,
Yeah.
so next up we have a women's match between Lady Frost and Mariah May. It's a wrestling match.
I actually didn't mind this match. I thought it was actually a lot better than a lot of these matches on the card. No, really. I'm
No,
actually
really?
being serious. Yeah.
It was fine, but why?
No reason.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's AEW, you know?
Frost
Yeah.
is actually
yeah, Todd
pretty
Brantley,
solid-
get with it. Tell us why.
Lady Frost is actually a pretty solid worker. I actually like her in-ring stuff for the most part. I've watched a few of her matches now, and I think that she's pretty good. Like you could do something with her. Mariah May is also pretty good,
She's good, man. She's a lot better than people realize, I think, anyway.
but I keep hearing people tell me how
Yeah.
I've heard people tell me how both of these people are like really super excellent wrestlers, and we just need to wait, and AEW is going to make them stars. No, they're not. Neither one of these
No, they're
people have
not.
star power. We're going to get into this with the Daniel Garcia thing, and also my personal opinion on Orange Cassidy. Some people just aren't stars. Some people can be really good, solid hands. They can be excellent workers for you. You can make use of them, but stop telling me they're going to be stars. Dean Malenko could never be a star. I just, nothing you did with Dean Malenko was going to make him into a real star. So
He was the Iceman, Chris. The
I
man of
know.
1,000 holds.
I know, and he was excellent as that.
I know.
He was
I
excellent.
didn't mind him back in the day,
entertained
you know, but
the fuck out of me with having really good matches and then
Remember
not
his theme?
saying anything. They tried to make him. They tried to make him fucking James Bond in the WWE. And it was just
That was
the
bad.
most fucking ridiculous thing. ever.
And he was the original Latino Heat, but even though he's not Latino, if you know what I mean. Remember the storyline with him and Lita? How fucking stupid was that?
Just
Pathetic.
very rapey, very Vince McMahon. Vince wrote all of the rapey stuff. That's what we could take away from today.
There was a lot of obsessed guys actually chasing women back in the Attitude Era. When you think about it,
Yep,
sexual chocolate. Anybody?
Vince McMahon. Just everything creepy and weird. It was Vince McMahon. All right,
Sexual chocolate.
Yeah, so Mariah May wins, and that's it. Swerve then talks for a while, and Tia Leone looks scary for a promo.
He screamed at the camera. Cool. He always loses though.
He does, which, yeah. All right.
Growl some more, I guess.
So next up, Magnum HIV is on the screen saying that Swerve is just gonna. Sorry, Hangman Adam Page says that Swerve is just gonna have to wait the whole effing show to find out who he's facing. Did you see what he did there, Vet? Did you get it?
But wait. You know what's confusing, Vet, before you say anything? I don't know why I know this. I could have sworn I saw a graphic that match between RVD and Swerve was like from Wednesday. So why are they acting like it was a secret?
Maybe this a little continuity error on their part.
It's like back to front though.
I know.
That's
why understand. The error.
Jeez. Anyway.
Confused. Also, do you like Magnum HIV? Can we use that now until he shaves his mustache? Because
I will give it a thumbs up.
What's he going for real? Is he really trying to like go Magnum TA? Like really?
I don't think he even knows who Magnum TA is. He won't even listen to veterans that are in his own locker room. Why would he know who Magnum TA is?
He's just.
You know what's funny? It's probably true.
He's just wearing a mustache he saw in the village. That's all.
Magnum TA wore regular jeans. No butterflies, no sequins, nothing. Just regular jeans. He holds no interest for Hangman.
Oh, 100%. 500%.
All right. So Eddie Kingston needs 3 belts to be over in this company. And he comes out with his 3 belts. Even though I thought the whole point of the tournament was that we were going to get 1 belt. I
asked you, Vet, a million times, constantly before
what
that
made
happened.
You think I knew? I didn't know, but I'll tell you what, we get 3 belts. We get 3 belts. It's
I could have sworn thing. They said at the beginning.
Look,
I don't know what you're complaining about. We got a new belt. He already had 2. He added a third.
True.
Now we know.
You're right.
So it's beautiful. I think he's a Triple Crown champion. He has all 3 crowns, and he's the Mad King. A Mad King should have 3 crowns because he only has 1 head, but he's mad, you see. He doesn't understand how things work like math. So it's beautiful. This is actually the best booking.
He gave himself a new nickname today, the King of the Bums, which...
That was weird, dude.
No, that was, didn't Bryan Danielson call him that? Like, or like he took that and gave it to himself because he got called a bum?
Yeah.
So now he's basically... Yeah,
And why is he so butthurt that Danielson didn't even say boo?
Because he thought he earned Danielson's respect after that match, and apparently Danielson couldn't even look at him. Bryan Danielson did the, he gave him what Shawn Michaels and Edge gave to me. Like, really? I'm not going to look at this guy. Yeah, I'm just going to walk past him and pretend I don't see him, even though there's literally nobody else here. Yep.
What pieces of shit, man.
That's not why I give Edge a hard time, though. I give him a hard time for everything he's done on this program and others.
That's surprising from the HBK doesn't surprise me one bit, but Edge, that kind of does surprise me. But then again, he was with Shawn Michaels, right? Had to be cool.
No. This was 2 separate incidents.
Oh, no shit. On their own.
Yeah. But let's not make this about me. This is about Eddie Kingston, who I like.
Shawn Michaels. Fuck Shawn Michaels in general. I'm a Bret Hart guy, so fuck Shawn Michaels to the moon. I don't like that guy. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about Eddie Kingston defending his Triple Crown championship against very worthy contender who has won several matches that we've all seen him win, Willie Mack.
Can we call him Willie Big Mac at this point, Vet? Because he's putting on even more weight since the last time we've seen him.
No,
he's probably it's kind of
no. Willie Big Mac is actually Keith Lee.
That's true. Actually, he's a double Big Mac at this point.
All right, so Willie doing Willie things. He's very athletic in the ring. We all know this if we've ever seen Willie Mack have a wrestling match. At one point here, he tried to do a shooting star press, and he landed on the back of his head. He also was selling his knee beforehand, so I'm not sure if it was meant to, but it looked like he straight up.
He did a cannonball right after that, though, Chris, too.
Yes. Also, if he was selling his knee, let me just say, as Jimmy said, don't run full speed directly after you sell that you can't do something because of your knee. That's not how selling works.
Yeah. Also, that's Seth Rollins' gimmick, okay? So if you ever want to get a job in the big time, yeah, don't be stealing Seth Rollins's, He taught us all that you can do anything you want as long as you clutch your knee afterwards.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Backwards once again. Let's go back to front. That's what this shit is all the time.
Hey, let's focus on the important thing.
Eddie Kingston
is he is a Triple Crown champion, and he successfully defends. And importantly, this is a good spot for Willie Mack, not losing to Dustin Rhodes. As a matter of fact, wouldn't this match have been even better if he had beaten Dustin Rhodes? Because then the last time you would have saw him on Collision, he would have been getting a win. And then it's like, oh, I guess he wants to challenge for a championship after his one win. But what do I know? I don't, I've never done this. So
can I ask you guys? I thought that the ranking system was back, but I didn't see not one thing about rankings on this show.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I'll answer. I'm sorry, Chris, I will just jump in and answer that. And this is the reason. We've had a ranking system before. We've had a ranking system now. And at any point during the ranking system, anyone can jump the line as long as they walk into the camera. Yeah, that's always been a thing. So I don't know why everybody's so confused. Do you guys even really watch?
Remember what I was telling you about the power of the phone, Vet?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
do understand that. But again, I was watching this on a phone, so I was I had to put it in the tiny window while I was scrolling my social media feeds.
The power of the face-to-face meeting with your tiny boss.
Yeah, way. It's got power, boys. All right, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Vince McMahon famously, basically like tricked many people into having sex with him. And Tony Khan is tricked into having sex with many people. It's wonderful that we have such a dichotomy in professional wrestling company owners over the last 20 years or so. So good deal.
Yeah, it's true. When needed, that Brad. When needed.
Because I'm pretty sure Tony Khan has blown Orange Cassidy at least a couple of times since he signed this contract. Okay, moving on. All right. Eddie wins the fat suit match. Wins the match. Danielson comes out before Eddie has had a chance to really leave. And Brian, he doesn't even look at him. And then Eddie gets on commentary and he's salty. He's very salty. He probably wishes he had something sweet to go with the salt because he's fat. Get it?
I'm gonna get that Snickers peanut butter pie gimmick they got back in catering.
Oh shit!
Good stuff. All right. So Kingston joins commentary. Danielson,
because he's butthurt.
That's right. And Danielson will face a Japanese guy who starred in the original 1954 Godzilla movie.
That's hilarious, but you know what? He actually did star in the original 1997 WCW.
Good stuff.
You can play as Yuji Nagata in WCW NWO
I was
Revenge
saying
for
that.
the Nintendo 64.
I actually was telling you that, Chris, how he was in WCW back in the day. That's how I first knew who Yuji Nagata was.
So Nagata, he can't walk.
Yeah, he's pretty battered.
Literally. You see him walk to the ring, and he's like,
You know what shocked me, man?
Man ever. What the fuck?
You know what really shocked me, though, guys? No shit, he looks like he's 65 at least, right? But he's only like 52.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, he just turned 50 a couple of years ago.
That's
yeah.
crazy, man. And he's been around for fucking ever, man. So back when we were watching him in WCW in the mid 90s,
He was
right?
like
That's crazy. I mean, he does look very different from then to now, though. I must admit.
He looked 35 back then. Like he's
He
always
did.
looked
He
older
fucking
than he
did.
is.
It's true,
You
man.
know?
He really did.
And he was never like, at no point in his career that I recall was he ever like what you would consider a spry, quick, agile individual. He's always kind of been just like they said on commentary, man. He's like an Olympic alternate or something like that. So he's just Matt. He's Matt, and then like some kicks. But
honestly, I was never a fan of his even back then. Now, he doesn't do it for me.
Yes. Well, also, No Butta attempts a run in the corner. It looks sad and embarrassing. Also, No Butta is the way Brian Cage orders his rye toast. Thank you. Brian going 50-50 with the oldest man in professional wrestling is embarrassing. What the it's okay, you want to bring these guys out and be like, oh, look at the old man who used to be something in wrestling, and it's nice. It really is nice that they do this. I'm legitimately saying it's a nice touch that they have these little moments where these old guys who are all broken down can come out and have a match on TV against like a relative star. But
Chris.
He looks like he's thinking, but he's actually
well, he'll be back, I guess. Should we continue about this? There he is. Chris, we missed everything you said, bro, just then.
All right. So I think it's very nice that that AEW does this, where they bring back, geriatric wrestlers and they give them a little showcase on TV. That's nice. But Bryan Danielson needs to beat him in 4 minutes. Like, this can't be a 50-50 8-minute match against the 55-year-old fucking man, unless you're trying to get us across that Bryan Danielson sucks at wrestling and he can't possibly beat someone who's in their prime. Unless that's the point, you can't go 50-50 with this old fucking man.
Well, you have to remember, Bryan Danielson is also broken down and old. He's only 10 years younger. And the other thing is, you guys are forgetting, well, maybe not Jimmy. Jimmy, I don't think forgot yet, but Okada just beat the fuck out of Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Kingdom and took years off his career. So now he's basically the same ring age as Yuji Nagata after that Rainmaker.
Jesus.
I wonder how many years Okada aged after he tapped out to Bryan.
He got a little younger.
All right, so afterwards Bryan wins with the running knee, and then he shakes No Cutta's hand, which really, really upsets Fat Eddie.
I can't stand this.
He was really mad about it. No Cutta, by the way, is something that Chris Kanyon used to tell DDP before their matches. Thank you.
Who better, Chris? Who
better? Anyway, yeah, Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston continue to have a feud, so that's good.
You know what? Kingston ain't big. Well, actually, Kingston will go over this time for sure, just to get that fucking respect. That's the story. He's got to finish his respect story because he must have really looked up to Daniel.
He's got to finish
Bryan Danielson.
Story.
Yeah.
Sorry. He's got to finish his story. That's what I meant.
Shit.
So FTR are backstage, and Mark Briscoe comes into the shot, and he's like, "Hey, y'all, if you need somebody to help you, I'll help you, guy, and also Chicken Farm,
guy."
So Vet was back on for this.
Yeah, I was like, okay, now we see. But right away, they didn't even let me have any intrigue because Dax Daxon was like, well, we're going to let it up to Daniel Garcia. He's going to be the one that tells us if he can go tonight. So, but we'll call you. If you there. So,
I know, it was like a rejection, it felt like, man.
Right. Yeah,
which
like,
is weird.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks, but thanks,
Yeah.
and maybe, but no, but like
But
as soon as Mark Briscoe signed up, it's like, well, shit, we take you over a healthy Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Far out.
I'm
What's
sorry,
wrong with these
Daniel, you
guys?
understand, right? You can be a healthy scratch on this. We just upgraded. So,
But can I ask, when did these three hook up?
well, Daniel Garcia got into it with, the Brody guy, Brody King, during the
Yeah.
the blue block of the Continental Classic. So who says there was no storytelling in the tournament? Like, that spun out into this. It's this amazing, epic storytelling that all started back at the Continental Classic, and you all laughed at it.
Wow.
You all scoffed at it, and I said, "Hey, wait a second. You might be right, but whatever." And now look here where we are. It's great.
Wow,
Beautiful storytelling, and possibly Daniel Garcia getting forcibly removed on television from a main event, which is that's I'm very into that storyline. Especially if it's being replaced with Mark Briscoe, but I could already see where this was going.
Yeah.
I didn't see exactly where it was going. It was a little foggy, but when they did what they did, which I won't get to yet, I was
my notes literally say FTR backstage and Mark Briscoe offers to step in for Daniel Garcia, which would be a much better match, even though we're not going to get it. Which,
Damn guy.
yeah. All right. So, Brian Cage has asked for some time with Renee, which good for you, my friend. But also, gross. He says that the FTW Championship and Hook are getting too much attention, and because of the powers of professional wrestling, Hook heard his name and immediately nightcrawlered his way to the spot and was like, "Hey, I heard you were talking about me. You can have a match for the belt." Which I thought this was Orange Cassidy's gimmick, just showing.
Wait a minute, Chris. Do you remember what you said to me right before this segment? You said something which was key.
What'd I say? I don't even remember.
Great. Next week, Brian Cage is going to lose to a small guy, right? And then we see Brian Cage right after that. And what do you know? You know I love Hook, but he's going to lose to a small guy.
He's going to lose to Hook because Vet wants to send Hook.
Hey, look, I think it's great, right? Orange Cassidy is orange. Hook likes orange. It all works out in the end. I would like to suggest that Hook is not so much a small guy as a lean guy. There's a difference there. Commander is small.
Says the lean guy.
Commander is small. Okay. Hook is lean, right? So, and there's potential for growth. And he's even growing his hair to give him the extra couple inches of height. So that part's fine. And you know what? He's a suplex machine. So Brian Cage stands no chance.
He actually is.
Yeah.
But can I ask? Yeah.
Or should I say
that?
Bamf?
Yeah, well, I guess he's doing the Brian Cage at Brian Cage. But can I ask you, Ben?
Versus the machine, the suplex machine.
One
machine is just an overall, we don't know exactly what they specialize in machine, but Hook is a suplex machine. So
but you know what's hilarious?
He's a get your shit in machine, is what he is.
He's a get your shit in machine, yeah. But you know what's even better? He's gonna take him to Suplex City next week whenever the match is. Mark my words. Mm-hmm. Brian Cage is getting tossed all over the friggin' ring. Heck, even outside of it.
No, Brian Cage will land his biggest moves, and Hook will kick out at one.
Hey, it's Brian Cage, bro. Well, what do we say about AEW? If you're a certain height and size, back of the line you go.
All right, now I don't want to hear any more about Hook. I don't want to hear any more about Bryan Danielson or Moxley or any of these so-called stars, because the actual fucking main event happened next. Serena goddamn motherfucking Deeb is back. Yes. Oh, this was so cathartic for me.
Awesome promo though, man, for sure.
Fuck whatever else you're talking about right now. I don't care about Vince and his rapey nonsense. None of it matters because Serena Deeb made her fucking triumphant return to the ring last night. All hail Serena Deeb. She's facing Robin Renegade.
The Professor, Serena Deeb.
I also really like, by the way. I like the Renegade.
Where's his sister? I'm surprised no one signed these girls yet, because for indie talent, they're pretty decent. You know what I mean?
Where does Ring of Honor come from? Because that's probably where.
Oh yes, I forgot.
Yeah, they're on Ring of Honor all the time.
I actually forgot.
Yeah. Lab Rat with the fucking greatest comment of the night right now. Cage will show Hook how to wrestle like a lightweight. Oh, fuck.
Well, he used to wrestle like a lightweight, though. He used to do Flip City. I mean...
one of these guys knows how to work like a monster, and the other one is Brian Cage.
Don't worry, the Kata Hajime is going to put him straight out. Done.
Anyway, good showcase here for Serena Deeb. She showed off some good technical skills. They talked her up on commentary, which is right. Nice. I'm just so fucking happy. Honestly, like, everybody's got their own a la carte thing. For me, if Serena Deeb's on the show, you automatically get a B, and everything else is just mustard after that. It's just extras. Serena Deeb being on the show, awesome. I love Serena Deeb. She takes the microphone. She asks the crowd if they missed her. And all 70 of the people in the crowd did miss her, which is kind of shitty, but not shitty on the part of Serena Deeb. She says that she's here for three things. She's going to elevate the women's division. It's probably true. Put the wrestling back into All Elite Wrestling, which, yeah, if you give her time, she will. And she's here to become a champion. So the women's division is on notice. What do you think about Serena Deeb? Do you agree with me that she's just absolutely fucking wonderful?
Serena Deeb. She's no Hook. She's not even Orange Cassidy.
Oh, fuck.
Kidding me? Yeah, to borrow it, to paraphrase Stephen A. Smith, okay?
Oh no, I know.
Serena Deeb is my friend. I'm very proud to say that. I was there for her literal first day as well, just like with Cody. And I couldn't, it was so funny to be there and have her, like, seeing her learn and me trying to learn too, you know, and trying to help her with the stuff I had already learned to help catch her up and stuff. And then for me to have to take my hiatus and come back, and now she's the master, right? Like, I couldn't have been happier to have, you know, fallen so far behind by missing those months that I was gone. So yes, of course, everything that she does and she achieves feels like a win for me too, selfishly. But what I'm happy about is a couple of things. In the overarching picture, I'm glad that people are seeing, she has a platform for this, you know, like, say what you want about Tony and his company and the way he runs it. But this was more of a platform than she was ever going to get in WWE in her prime, in her actual prime, which was stolen from her by them, which is one of the reasons why there's a lot of vitriol in what I was saying earlier about who I was saying it about. That's just one of many reasons, but that's a good example.
One. What did they make her do when she didn't want to do it? I mean,
right. Yeah,
that's a fact.
So anyway, so yes, so I'm happy she has a platform for people to respect her, you know, like for all the nice things that people are saying about her in the chat right now, the nice things that Chris and Jimmy are saying and everything like that. Like, she has a platform to be acknowledged, to show that she's even exists. Cause there was a time when she wasn't going to do this anymore. And that was so unfair.
Because of the other company, mind you.
Yeah.
100%.
Because the other company said, well, you're not a model, we're not going to use you, essentially. Like that's what it basically comes down to with the WWE. If you don't look, like, at least it did. I mean, they're a little better now, but you're right. There was no chance the WWE was ever going to showcase the skills that Serena Deeb has. And that is one thing that I also give Tony Khan credit for, is that he said, okay, I have a worker here who is just an absolute fucking nightmare of a you know, she's everything that you could possibly fucking want in a professional wrestler. She's a nightmare for opponents. She's so technically good, right? Like, she makes wrestling look real, I'm going to give her time to make her matches look real and have a good, real looking match. Yeah, I mean, fuck, I love Serena.
And so furthermore, what's really good about this specific thing is not just the match, but this felt like it was important. If you actually watch the show, throughout the show, they not only they billboard it last week that she's coming back, and they've had the vignettes leading up to her return and everything, which are really cool and stylish. And then, but then like all throughout the show, they're like, Serena Deeb coming later, Serena Deeb coming, not Serena Deeb versus whoever. They just say, hey, it's Serena Deeb. It doesn't matter who the fuck she's across the ring from. You're going to want to see this. So they're making it, they're getting you, they're actually putting effort towards the promotion of this person, which is very nice. You know, not that she doesn't deserve it, but they don't do that. Not even for people that do deserve it sometimes. They I don't know if it's just negligence, like, oops, we forgot, or we didn't have time or whatever. But they wanted to make sure that you saw this match. You know, they promoted this match more than the steel cage match in the main event.
Yep.
So
oddly enough, yeah.
So it felt like it wasn't just like, oh, here's Serena. You remember her. She was here a while ago and now she's back. Like it felt like they wanted this to be a big deal. So I'm glad of that. So, you know, more importantly, you know, just as another personal anecdote, because again, firsthand experience, everybody loves Serena. Nobody's going to say that she's not good, but as good as you think she is, she's better than that. This match, it was fine. It's whatever. It's a modern women's wrestling match, but she did it well. But she's so much even better she's better than most of the men. You'll never understand how good she is.
Right. And
she's
this wasn't even about the match.
Prodigy. Yeah. And you don't see that level of aptitude. But having experienced it firsthand, what she can do, it's like, yeah, man, you guys don't even still know how good she is. And you may never know, you just can't know watching on TV, but she's
just gone by you guys, what you guys say that actually know her, like you've been, I mean, you can tell what type of person she actually is, you know what I mean? And I've heard nothing but great things about her, obviously. But besides that, she really is good.
Yeah, as much as you're saying that, like you can't know like how good she is, you're probably right. But I know how much better she is than everybody else in that company just from watching her first run.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's why Jimmy and I have been talking about Serena Deeb as like, holy fuck, why don't they just strap the rocket to this woman? She is fucking awesome.
And that's probably because of her.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, really, she's probably cool with not having to be the, you know, woman of the division. She's there to also help, you know what I mean? So, but she has earned it, and I think they will go with it, whether it's the TBS championship, which is forgotten at this point. Where the hell is the TBS championship these days, or the women's championship? She's definitely earned it. Not deserve it, earned it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I actually really like Todd Brantley's suggestion here. Purrazzo should team up with Deeb, the wrestling professors. He also says they could win both singles titles and essentially run the women's division, a 2-woman power trip like Stone Cold and Triple H. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it.
That's cool, but I think they both deserve to have their own runs too right now. You know what I mean? But it would be great.
I'd love to see a major main event where, like, I'd love to see a major main event where those two are the main event. Like, I'd love to see like a big show where it's Deonna Purrazzo versus Serena Deeb. Like, main event to pay-per-view with those two. Those two could actually bring, like,
there's
Deonna
the problem
Purrazzo
with AEW.
could be one person who could bring out, you know, what Serena Deeb is capable of. Because I don't think the Purrazzo is as good as Serena Deeb. I just don't. I think Purrazzo is a really excellent wrestler.
Please.
But I think that if anybody on that roster could actually show you just how fucking good Serena Deeb is, I think it's probably Purrazzo, which is strange to say considering she just got there. But I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Maybe Tony Storm, but I think Tony Storm's a bit too
cartoonish right now.
Yeah, it's too much of a cartoon. I'd love to see a real serious, these are the two best technical wrestling women in the world between Purrazzo and Deeb, main event, some pay-per-view. And I think they could do it.
The only thing is, though, Chris, I feel like AEW doesn't respect women's wrestling enough to actually do that. I don't know. Maybe it's just
me. To be fair, why should they have?
Yeah. Right, it was true. Right.
So, and the other thing I wanted to say about this whole deal here on this segment here, of course I liked her promo, pretty good. Only thing I would have done was I would have made it more pointed at the end. Like I would have had some, reference to the actual champion. Just say Timeless is a fitting name because you don't have much anymore.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a.
No, you're.
I don't need to write her promo. Just
but
something
perfect.
like that to put the name on it. I'm coming. I'm coming for you. Yeah. Your belt. Julia Hart. You're not safe either. Maybe I'm not satisfied with just one.
Right. You're right. Exactly.
Yeah, she might have said
something. She might have said something like "Science beats magic every time," and I'll show you. You know what I mean? I'll show
that's
you,
perfect
the
also.
science of professional wrestling or something.
Because she's the professor, right? No, absolutely. Yeah. And I forgot that Julia Hart was actually the TBS champion. No shit.
Mm-hmm. Everybody did, Jimmy.
We all did, yeah.
No shit. Yeah, no shit. I totally forgot. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next week we get to see 4 more luchadors from Mexico.
Yes.
El Dorito.
El Dandy.
El Dandy.
Villano 666.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's Damien 666. Villano 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever.
All them guys who Bret Hart was willing to defend the United States Championship.
Sin Cara Mystico is, I guess, big deal these days. But I mean, who cares? Why are they doing this?
Because they want to show you how not racist they are, I think.
Well, you guys clearly are just not CMLL fans, so why?
I'm a triple A fan. Nah.
Yeah, how's this gonna work? Are they still gonna have any? It seems like it's if a company is working with the other company, let's say AEW is working with AAA. CML won't come anywhere near it.
I know.
However, CML has a New Japan deal. They have talent exchanges, and they even have an event every year or a tour every year called Fantastica Mania.
Right, exactly.
And so there can't be no AAA guys and New Japan guys, but New Japan has a deal with AEW too. So what is this all? Yeah, I don't know.
It's bizarre, man.
AAA? It
seems like
it on AAA.
They pretty much did the bird to Conan. It feels like at this point.
Oh, well.
I mean, seriously. I mean, it is weird. It's strange.
That's really not Bowdy.
And Rowdy.
Yeah. All right. Main event time. FTR come out, followed by Mark Briscoe. Yay! And then the lights go out. And then the Dark House of Black Thrones, they come out, they jump Mark Briscoe, and they're like, no chickens in this match. So.
No chickens?
Anyway, the Goths then attack, and so we can get a triumphant return from Daniel Garcia later. Fuck off already. That was my notes before Daniel Garcia ever came out.
Super Garcia now.
Well, now I have to give you the final update. It's here was the Mark Briscoe thing, and when the lights went out and he went through the table or whatever, I was like, yep, invoking the claws, and I slid the bar over because I already knew the rest of it.
All right.
Shit.
Well, let me just say, elimination cage matches, the proper way where you have to you have to actually.
I didn't know it was elimination. Did they explain that?
They did. Yeah, they did explain that. There's no tapping. There's no pinfalls. You have to actually escape. Those matches work really, really well when they start in the ring with the cage lowered. That's
not just that. How dumb were all these wrestlers in this match?
This was the dumbness that has happened in a long time in AEW, and that's really
a bunch of dopes, dude. And
So
I
anyway,
don't mean to say that because I'm fans of these guys. Sorry, Chris, but yeah, continue.
Anyway, they start off with a brawl around ringside, weapons, nonsense, bullshit. Daniel Garcia comes out with his head's all wrapped up, and he's, somehow he got clear. Somehow he got cleared to wrestle. It's cool.
Yeah, he got the towel, cleared his face.
His head was all fucked up, but he was cleared to wrestle. So he came out and he did some wrestling. So basically, what they're trying to tell us here is that Daniel Garcia is a bigger star than Mark Briscoe in the mind of Tony Khan. So
he can dance. That's why.
Yeah. No wonder this company's a mess. So they all stand around looking up and they catch Cash Cashton, who dives from the top of the cage. I think it was Cash Cashton. It's the one with the hair.
Yeah. It was Cash Cashton. And you know what? I pointed out he was coming down like a missile, but the guys protected him so well because it's like he hit a bunch of plush pillows. They really did protect him really good. That kind of impressed me.
Job of catching Harry Harrison of FD. All right.
Shit.
So then Dash Daxton was really mad at a turnbuckle. He punched it a few times. And his
No. Garcia was mad at the turnbuckle also.
It's a weird. Why are you
Do you remember that?
Turnbuckles, guys?
He was punching, and the camera zooms in. He's not even anywhere near his head. He's just going bang, bang to the turnbuckle. And I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, this company.
Superstar.
One of the Alliteration brothers escapes early along with Brody King. So it's down to Buddy and Malachi against Garcia and Harry Harrison. Harrison chases Buddy out of the cage. Why?
Oh, damn.
Why would you... Listen, if he leaves the fucking cage, then it's just you and Garcia against Malachi. You can double team Malachi, beat the living shit out of him, leave him laying in the fucking middle of the ring, and the two of you can walk out skipping and holding hands. Like what? What's the logic of chasing Buddy out of the fucking ring?
I think Todd Brantley knows the answer to the logic.
Yeah, he does actually. He actually really does because he told me. Apparently, I already know the answer, and clearly, you guys do too. Carly, Todd, tell us why.
We'll wait.
Yeah.
But,
so Garcia gets to play the hero here at the end instead of the goober that everyone sees he is. Yeah. Julia Hart squirts on Daniel Garcia. Sorry, sprays is a more appropriate word. Sprays. She sprayed mist, not squirted. She sprayed mist and Daniel Garcia. So Daniel Garcia once again gets to have his face painted in this match. He's loving the colors today. He was red, green. He's,
he was doing art, Chris.
Yep. Anyway, Mark helps the faces win, and then Daniel Garcia gets to be the conquering hero. He won it because he's great. He's so good. These guys worked really fucking hard in this match. I hate to talk about it like this, but like this was nonsense to the level of like I wanted to just turn it off. Like I like these guys.
True.
FTR are one of my favorite fucking tag teams. I like the House of Black. I think I might start just agreeing with fucking Vet on this one. And if Daniel Garcia is main eventing, I'm out. Jimmy can fucking tell us what happened in the future.
What? Man.
Well, did we even mention? I swear I was listening to you the whole time. Did you even mention how they stopped Aleister Black from getting out?
Yeah, because Mark Briscoe stopped him. They hit him with the door.
Slam the cage on his head. So a little bit of Mark Briscoe at the very end. So I made sure to make sure he didn't, he didn't come back or anything. And I was right. He did come back a little bit at the very end.
And then they all celebrated. And it looked like three wrestling stars and Daniel Garcia celebrating. It was, fuck me, this company. They have it so wrong with so many other talents. It is, God, it's embarrassing. Like we just gave them props for what they appear to be allowing Serena Deeb to do. So good on them. But then they turn right around and they try to make fucking Daniel Garcia a star.
They've been trying for a while now.
Daniel Garcia main evented how many fucking shows when they first signed him?
Yeah. I mean, even now, he's still main eventing shows. And like Todd says, he's talking about Reebok shoes.
Yep.
Daniel Garcia has a record number of main events. Like I don't think Hogan main evented the Garden more times than Daniel Garcia's main evented AEW TV. I don't think Bruno main evented the Garden as many times as Daniel Garcia's main evented TV without ever having done anything. But a guy like Daniel Garcia is a guy who, with all respect to him, this is exactly how you don't get a guy over. Because it's just a smaller scale, much more implausible, sort of like a Roman Reigns thing, where they were trying to force Roman Reigns at us, and we just weren't having it for a lot of that time, rather than let the people choose Roman. You know, and they did it to Braun in NXT. Like they in WWE do that a lot, where it's like they have their guy that they earmarked, and then they force that guy and make it too obvious. So then, you know, fans, a good segment of fans start rejecting him. If Daniel Garcia shows up and just never done anything, and you start putting him in main events, it's like, even if you're looking at a main event as like one of the low points of the show because everybody that fell asleep in their TV dinner woke up and turned off the TV and they're not watching anymore. Still, that's not a good idea, because all people are going to look back on and say is like, yeah, that may have been the deadest spot on the show, but it was still Daniel Garcia in the main event. And then they're going to blame him for the low ratings, even though nobody in that spot probably could have pulled any ratings. So it's not fair to him, but that's a guy that you don't put in main events, but you put earlier on. And then if he's got something, the people will get behind him. And especially if you beat him more often than he goes over, then the people have even more sympathy for him. He'll build equity. And then when he does win, it'll mean something to the people.
That's right. Just like when Cody Rhodes wins next year, it'll be great.
Right. Yeah. Forget the first, 20 years of his career. That's not important either. But Daniel Garcia had 20 minutes of a career before they were starting putting him in main events. So you just can't do it. It's not even fair to him. So all joking aside about me skipping the main events, which that is a shoot. I do skip them when he's in them now, but it is still partially for the content. I really think if he's on the undercard, I'm not skipping it. That's just how it is.
I listen, I understand. And I think you're right. Like if Daniel Garcia is used properly, he can be just fine. He's
come on, guys. He's a freaking iron board.
Yeah, he's definitely slim. Like he's more slender than you'd like him to be. And he doesn't ever have any kind of menace. Even when he was a heel, there was no menace to him. Like he would try to have like a tough face, and it just looked like a child trying to make a tough face. Is not like Daniel Garcia is not a lot of things, but he's a decent hand. His little dancing thing or whatever, that was funny, right? Like
he's becoming our dancing queen, Chris.
He said it was like he's not doing it.
But you need to, but you need to have him at the European Championship level. That's where he needs to be, at least for the next 4 or 5 years. Putting him as a main event guy right away.
I have an announcement. We are going to have a tournament for our new championship, the AEW European Championship.
Yes.
The first participant is Daniel Garcia, and the rest to be determined later.
Oh man, don't be surprised. Don't laugh. That could happen.
Fuck.
They'll call it the All In Championship, the London Champion. I don't know, something stupid like that.
The All Pacific Championship.
The All Indian Ocean Championship.
The All Pacific Championship to be defended in England.
Oh man, it's all right. We got breakfast championships. You know, breakfast for men, breakfast for champions like Eddie Kingston. You know what I mean? Soon we'll get a brunch championship, and heck, maybe a lunch and dinner championship. We'll see.
That's good stuff. All right. Well, listen, it's almost 2 hours. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say that this show, because Serena Deeb was on it, started with a B, and it's going to end with a B because they didn't earn anything else the other 2 hours of this show. So thank you to Serena Deeb for completely screwing up my, my ability to properly rank this garbage show. Because Serena Deeb is so awesome, it's going to get a B from me. Jimmy, how about you?
Wow. I mean, Deeb was one of the bright spots of this show. If anything, maybe the bright spot. Heck, you know what? I'm going to give credit to all the women. The women is the only thing that entertained me tonight. And, last night now. But a B is going a bit berserk for me. So I'm going to say a C minus.
Fair. That's fair. Vet, what's your opinion?
See,
nice.
You see what I did there? Jimmy took the grade right out of my brain. It is a C minus. It is elevated a whole letter grade and maybe a little bit of change because of Serena. And then all the other little things were they were barely like a taste. It's like when you walk by a bakery and you're like, that smells good, but you don't get to eat it. Like, it was a bunch of that. So like a whiff of Hook, a whiff of Mark Briscoe, just like, and
then being force-fed Daniel Garcia.
Yeah. I passed on that. So it doesn't really count.
That was like a pork bun.
Yeah. It's like, no, even that would have been, I'll take a pork bun. I just won't take a Daniel Garcia, but yeah, so that and a couple other, just the overall general. Nothing was great, but there was plenty of stuff that was fine. So I think we're ending it with a C minus here. That's what I think.
I think that's fair. Like I said, as soon as Serena Deeb's on the show gets a B from me. That's how much I love Serena Deeb. But I totally understand, and I think you guys are probably closer to the mark, giving it a C minus, and only because Serena Deeb was on the show. So the show's going. Okay, Vet, you go first. Where can the people find you?
You can find me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms. You can find me every Wednesday for the Next Level Wrestling Review with Big Ray Hernandez, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find me every Monday for the Impact Attack, where we talk about TNA. Every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And check out Wrestling with Rip Rogers. They've been doing a string of great interviews. And you can check out Stevie Richards, who's been doing a crazy amount of videos and channels. And frankly, he needs to cool it. But ain't nobody got enough time in the day to watch all this great Stevie Richards content. So you'll have to take that a la carte as well. But definitely, serve yourself some of it.
Totally. All right.
Indeed.
Jimmy, where can the people find you if they'd like to hear more?
Well, you can find me right here, actually, on channelattitude.com, where for $5 you get the realest talk, but the best talk in pro wrestling. And Vet, I've got a surprise for you, actually. Guess what? I am covering for Big Ray Hernandez this coming Thursday morning, I guess.
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
It's a whole, 16 hours ahead or something? Yeah, it's a whole other day.
It's something like that. Sometimes I get confused. Usually I'm on
As long as board, you know that it's 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m.
Yes.
Eastern, and we don't take an extra 20 minutes to watch NXT.
No. I'll be, don't worry. I'll be ready. We're not going to be late, as a matter of fact. But yeah, so I'm covering for Big Ray this week because I think he's going to his nephew's, was it wedding or something like that?
It's some ridiculous reason that's not worth missing a show over.
Yeah. So yeah, that will be you and I once again. And also, you can find me on the X at DJ MASSFX, and also you can find us at the PWC Network. Please don't subscribe at HMGgroup.popping.com for our affiliate shows and the pwcnetwork.podme.com for all our other shows, including the Royal Rumble review show that we did just yesterday. And that's it for me.
Right on. Well, we're over 2 hours, so you can't find me anywhere. I am unavailable. Go fuck yourself. Really, you can find me on like most of the stuff that these guys mentioned. Just you'll find me around in the same circles. On Twitter at ChrisAmbs1. I'm not currently active right now because Twitter is a fucking cancer, and I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible.
And no one knows how to spell your name anyway, so.
Also, there's that. Yeah, it's a mystery. How do you spell Ambs? You'll never know. Anyway, thanks, guys. We love you. To the chat, thank you for just keeping it up and being awesome. And thank you to everybody who was involved. Thank you to Vet. Thank you to Jimmy. And you're welcome.
Y'all.
From me. Olay. Bye.
Ciao.
Go away now.